Hello everybody. I hope you are happy and waiting for Halloween to come. And if you have not noticed yet, I did make a new event, and I'm going to have to put it up on the Facebook page as well and on the community page. I intend to have Halloween event, and that means that it's going to be on Thursday, the 31st of October. Hi Judy, hi Chris. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to get my text fixed. Just a second. I forgot to turn it on. Halloween. Just 1 second. I am so sorry. Okay, it's black, not BLCC. And skull has only 2 L's, right? Okay. Hi Linda. Hi Fran. Okay, let me turn this on. Hi Gladys. Walking Pure Heart. Hi Susan. Okay, as you can see, I did already prepare some stuff ahead of time because I didn't want us to have to wait for stuff to get baked and all that, especially because, yeah, my shoulder is better, but I still don't know how long it's going to act properly. Okay, so what I'm going to use in this is all Premo clay, and essentially you need black, white, and translucent. Hi Elaine. Then I'm going to use this mold, which I did put in my Amazon influencer store. Let me give you the link to the store, and of course I will do the video description completed as usual after I finish the live. Hello Silver. And if you go in the store and you look in molds, this mold should be somewhere. You need to scroll down. It's going to be, let me see, right before the gray molds start. You're going to find it. Now, why I used this one, and trust me, I bought several before finding one that fit my my standards, even if it's not that terrific of a mold, because it's a sugar mold. And in case you missed when I was talking about the molds you need to that you buy, that you want to use with polymer clay, I said pretty much avoid sugar craft molds as much as you can, because they are too squishy, and especially if you have a little bit of a harder polymer clay, the details will be squished out. But this one is not super squishy. It feels like it's a little bit just a second, I'll give you the perfect example of the difference between a polymer clay mold and a sugar craft mold, because I got burned on this one. Got it from Etsy. Of course I didn't leave a very good review, because this person had molds listed as sugar craft molds and molds listed as polymer clay molds. But this, I don't know, he probably gets them thicker or whatever, but this is not a polymer clay mold. This is a sugar craft mold. This is a polymer clay mold that I've had for like 15 years, and you can see it's all, it has been pecked. Looks like it was pecked by birds. But look at this, it is fairly sturdy, while this one goes, I cannot do that with this one if I try, but I can do that with this one if I try. So what happens when I'm trying to press something in, it's going to get deformed because the polymer clay is much heavier than Sugarcraft. Hi Lydia. So even this, if this is not really a polymer clay mold, it is a Sugarcraft mold, you can still use the Sugarcraft molds in resin. And I hope I got it. I wanted to make resin stuff and all kinds of other things, but again, something had to be happening, like my shoulder, and I wasn't able to do much. Anyway, hi Norma Jean. Hi Soile. So you can still use this, okay? So number one, what you want to do, because we're gonna need some backing for, and I'll show you. Hi Zoe, I'm glad. I'll show you how to make small ones for earrings, as well as a bigger one for pendant. Hi Cecile. So first of all, you need to make a backing, something that you can put your rose on. Of course, you can start with simply, if you don't have any of these molds, you can start with simply putting your rose on a flat round or something, but it will look much better on something like this. If you have any other Halloween themed molds, please use them. As I said, this is the best that I could find. I'm sure that most of you already have some Halloween molds, so you don't have to use necessarily this one. But what I did, I prepared some of the small ones for the earrings, and then a larger one for the pendant. And it doesn't even have to be perfectly round or anything. And I will show you how to do the molds. And again, remember that this is a Sugarcraft mold, so it's not that terrific. Yeah, it's YouTube's messed up. It's not the. So what you want to do, you want first to do to make a bead that has to be a little bit smaller than your, see, this one is a little bit too big, so I'm going to get a little bit out of it and go again. So this should be quite okay. Now what I can tell you is that I prefer to work on these with wax paper, not with cosmetic sponges, because these are molds that your polymer clay will pop out right away. Hi Carolyn. So I'm going to simply use wax paper, and I'm going to use my, remember that this thing you can only find at Hobby Lobby, because I know everybody's asking me about this one. You cannot find it online, only in the store at Hobby Lobby. I don't know, I don't even think it's available for sale online. And you see, I still have a little bit of a lip coming out. So what I always do, I use Lisa Pavelka's pivoting blade technique. Hi Kathy. And just put it somewhere where you can press on it to hold it in place, but not fully hold it in place, you know. And then go like this, and you will get your mold pretty good. The good part about them is that they are not very deep. So, and remember, if you don't get it the first time, there's no drama. You can just put it back and try again. Now, the other thing, so I did for the pendant, again, the same thing. I'm taking, and you can use any of the other ones if you want. Again, I'm making a bead, and I want the bead to be smaller. So again, I'm going to cut away some of it. And this looks pretty much okay. So I'm going to put again the wax paper and press it down kind of forcefully. Remember, don't use the cosmetic sponge because it's going to pop it off. Hi Beverly. Hi Kathy, thank you. And even the paper might want to come out. But what you want is to not get a lot of clay over. And again, I'm going to use again the pivoting blade to shave off everything that might be extra. And there we go. I have my skeleton hand here. Now, for the other ones, as I said, I already made some to have already made. And I'm going to show you with translucent, and there is a reason why I want to show you with translucent. For these ones I actually mixed half and half white and translucent, but yeah, it is. But I'm going to show you on translucent because you know how white shows on the camera and it's very hard to see the details. So to make the little skulls, and I'm going to refocus and zoom in so you can see better. Yes, I had last year, I had making skulls live. Okay, so let's see what would be the best. This would be good. There we are good. So your first thing, as I said, I'm going to use the translucent because it's much easier to see what I'm doing. So the first thing that you want to do is to make sure that your skulls, I have 4 because I'm going to make 2 pairs of earrings, but what you want to do is to make sure that they will be equal. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make them a little bit larger than these so you can see what I'm doing. So you first cut a piece of clay, obviously, and let's make the piece 1.5 inches, and then you cut your 1.5 inches or whatever you want. Thank you. It's the Color Club, and remember that I put in the Amazon influencer store, I made special a nail polish section just for everybody who's asking me about the nail polish. And of course Whisper needs to go outside. Just a second. Come on. I'm sorry, I tried to get him out before I started the live, but he didn't want to go. And for the ones of you who don't know, Whisper is my whippet dog, and he's old and he has liver cancer and he cannot hold it. So when he wants to go, I have to let him go. Okay, so your next thing is to make beads. So just mash them and then roll them until you see no folding line. So see, I still have a folding line here. I'll just keep rolling, and for round beads you always use only this part of your hand, no, your palm. So let's see, I'm actually looking at the, so nothing, we are good on that one. Yeah, all it is practice, trust me. It's a lot of people ask me, you make it look so easy. Trust me, when I started it wasn't easy. But I'm trying to find I'm trying to find the path of least resistance. So how to do something the easiest way and that would affect my hands the least. And you see I still have a little bit of a bruise. At least my hands don't bother me here anymore. Okay, now we got this, and I'm going to have to go let Whisper down. Your next thing is to slightly ovalize them. So in order to ovalize them, you go like this. And I should have put some cream on I washed dishes before I started the live, so my skin is a little dry. Okay, so you want to ovalize them a little bit. Next, you need a dowel or the end of a paintbrush, but it has to be the sharp kind, not the rounded kind, in order to do what you need to do. And then get them a little bit separate and flatten them a little bit like this. And then we need to make the thing here. Hi Donna, yay, good thing that you started. So simply press, count about this separated in 3 pretty much, and press it about the middle. So let's see, if I put this like this, it would be easier to see. Because see, I'm going to go to the middle of the bead. So only on the side. 1, 2. Here the same. 1, 2. And then grab your X-Acto knife and now cut this out. And there's the ice cream truck on the street if you hear something sounding like a musical box. I sure hope that I won't have so many problems when it comes to Christmas stuff, because I have so much Christmas stuff to show you. And by the way, I have found, and I think they should still be there, let me just check, because I know that I had in the store, I had put special incoverables. At the very bottom should be glass blank Christmas ornaments. Let me get, yes, in the coverable. So again, if you go in my Amazon, there are 2 actually, 10 that are a little bit larger, and then 10 that are normal sized, and then 6 pieces that are a little bit larger. But what I suggest, nevertheless, I suggest that you go to your local dollar stores, Family Dollar, whatever, and even Big Lots, and even Hobby Lobby and Michael's. They will be cheaper than what you can find online. If I find anything online cheaper, I'm going to look, because usually Monday morning I update the Amazon stores. Let me go get Whisper inside. And this afternoon I intend to spend some time to get Connor to accept me to put on him some fairy wings, because I think he's going to look gorgeous. Now, for the next step, you can use whatever. I mean, you can use But when you finish, you can finish with the ball stylus, but start with something sharp like this. And you can use a pencil, you can use a knitting needle, whatever. And you go pretty much, you start, you see the line here, start pretty much at the middle, but on the line, middle between this and this, but on the same line. It goes here, and then you can enlarge this. Either you can go with this deeper, or you can use your ball stylus to make them a little bit larger. And the same, let's do the same here. So I follow this line up, and the middle should be here. Follow this line up, and the middle should be here. And again, enlarge it a little bit. And then there's a trick for the nose. Okay, let me put again the link to the Amazon store. Just a second. It is in the video description anyway. If you look in the video description, you'll always find it. Thank you, Cecile. Yes, thank you. Don't forget that thumbs up. Okay, now watch very carefully for the nose, because the nose you'll be doing it with the sharp thingy. And this is one of the crappy polymer clay so-called sculpting tools, but your best bet would be a knitting needle. So you go about this line, right, and you go in the middle, and first get your point, then you go once like this, once like this, not far. So let me try and get a better view of this. So I go, no, not from here, it's not a good view. So I'm gonna go once this way, then once this way. So once this way, once this way, and then I go, still from the top is the best. And then I go on top, and I lean this on the clay. You don't want to go too far up. Like I kind of exaggerated to show you how you're doing. So let's do this one. So get your point, go a little bit down left, a little bit down right, and then up to do the nose. I did it not enough. It's very hard to show. Then your next thing, and I need to put my readers on for this part. Your next thing is to make the teeth, right? So careful not to cut all the way. You just want to do a little bit. So you do a cut like this, and then you start with the middle, and here you have to put 2. So on each half you need to put 2 cuts. So 1, 2, 1, 2. The same here. And you do a much better job if you use, remember that I use the wax carvers as sculpting tools, and they're a little bit thicker than the X-Acto knife, so they will leave much better lines. You can also use the back of the X-Acto knife, but these you get like 12 different ones for like $9. And yes, they are in the sculpting tools in the influencer store, but they are my most favorite sculpting tools. And that's where you are pretty much done. If you want to do to arrange a little bit this part, I normally do that with my fingernails. I just do this a little bit to round up some, and they will look just fine for but you see, you need to make them much smaller. I just made them larger so you can see better. Now for the pendant, I actually used this, and this is again a little bit, thank you Zoe. Hi Fabi, thank you. Hi Anna. So you want something that would be relatively not bigger than the bottom of this. So I'm going to kind of try and figure out. You might need 2 or 3 tries to get a proper print of this. So if I go like this, I need to remove some from here and then remove some from here, and let's see how that goes. You want to have this side, the side that goes in, you want to have it pretty much even and smooth. So let's see. No, it is still a little bit too big. I am shaving some of it. And my translucent is a little bit hard because I had it's left over from when I had the sponsor live Friday evening, and I needed it a little bit hard for some canes. Okay, so let's see how that goes now, because I only want, out of all this, I only want the skull part. I know, I'm showing you how to work with my fingernails. And not everybody has fingernails, but you can use the, you can actually use the ball stylus. And you don't have to have it perfect, okay? As long as you get the outline of it, and as long as this part is relatively flattish, because after that you can take it out, and now we are not going to need this anymore, and you can gently use your X-Acto knife and kind of trim out the excess. Now, as a piece of advice, your best bet is if you have a little bit of a dip here, because it's going to make it much easier to place this on the rose. Now let me bring the stuff back. So refocus the camera. The focus is okay. All right, now what I did, I got, and I need to bring, I forgot to bring my itty bitty cutters. Hi. You can find these, I got these at PolyClay Play, but you can find these on Amazon as well, and I think I probably have some. So you want to go with your clay, remember this is half black, half translucent. You want to go fairly thin. I actually went on a 7 on the makings, so it's 2 before the thinnest. And then what you will need for the next part, obviously you will need your backings, and let me not put different backings. So this goes here, This goes here. They are a little bit, huh? No. This goes here, this goes here. Okay, what I'm going to do now, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to use wax, but you can use acrylic paint. Just to be on the safe side and not put my earrings upside down. I'm going to use some orange on one pair and some purple on the other, because of course, orange and purple. And it's a skeleton bride. Got a little bit too much on that one. Too bright. Oh, come on, come off. Okay, here's the skeleton brides. And on the other one, I'm gonna put purple. So this is, and you have them, honestly, I would suggest that these you get at PolyClay Play, and let me give you my affiliate link there. Because they are cheaper and Trish has more of them. Let me actually give you the link directly to the waxes. Because these are the best waxes in my opinion. They are my most favorite waxes, and they just came up with even more colors. So there are two lines that they are both Prima marketing. One of them is the paints and waxes metallic, and this would be one of them. That's where they came up with new colors. And the other line is the Antique Brilliance, that also has some beautiful colors. But there are some in the on Amazon as well you can get, but they will be generally more expensive. And of course you can do this with simple acrylic, metallic acrylic. Okay. There is a delay. Be aware that there is a delay between what you see on the screen and where I am, because I always choose this setting for my lives, so people don't have to wait for it to buffer. This one is a pirate. This is a little bit darker. I lost my own screen. And as I said, you can use the simple under $2 metallic acrylic, or the little bit more expensive color shift. They're still perfect. I think I did a review on these when they first I did a review on them when I first found them. That was a year or something ago, and a few months ago when they came up with new colors. I did an unboxing, didn't I? Okay, so now we have these marked. I'm going to use actually On one pair I'm going to use wax, just because I want to show you how to do with both. On one pair I'm going to use wax, and on the other one I'm going to use acrylic. And the wax that I'm going to use on one pair will be the Indian pink. And this is how it looks like. It's a little bit dried out, but it's gorgeous, trust me. It's beautiful. It's more of a fuchsia pink, but not yet. Okay, so what we need to do next, and I'll have to show you exactly how you measure when you do your petals. So remember, this is on second from thinnest. All right, and of course we are going to need some Bacon Bond. And remember, I always use Bacon Bond over liquid clay. It's not blue. You have to remember that my camera, and generally cameras, shift the color. This is actually purple. This is electric violet. And this is Firebird. And I can show you other colors. Let's just give it a moment for this to settle, and let me show you the other colors, just so you know how they look like real quick. I'm really bad when I like something. I really want all the colors in this. Okay, so another one that is beautiful, one of my favorites, is the Mint Sparkle. That's a green gold. It's fabulous. I don't know if you can see that. These are the Opal Magic ones, the ones that are iridescent, and they show differently. I mean, when you look at them, they look white, but when you use them, let me see. Let me get a piece of black, so I can figure out what's the difference between these and the other ones. See, it gives a shine. That looks very luscious. Let me get another color. So this was Royal Robes. Let's try this is turquoise satin. Let's try the green brocade. You can see it's still white, right? But when you use it, and it's always going to look the best on black. Of course you can use it on white, but it's going to look the best on black. And they are iridescent, as I said. Now the other colors that you can use on this would be, and this looks good, the green is fine. The other blue that you have here is the Blue Lagoon. That's beautiful. It's more of a baby blue. Old Denim is a darker blue, and these are the new colors that they came up with. And let me see. This is the old color. This is the Mystic Turquoise. It's in the Antique Brilliance. But they are all absolutely fabulous. Let me see. And they do the best metallic, the best black. You need to find the whatchamacallit, a retailer on them. See, I'll show you the silver. This is the old silver in the metallic line, and I'll show you how, in my opinion, it's the best metallic wax out there. It makes things look like they are really made of metal. And then you let it cure for about 10-15 minutes, and you use a simple cotton rag on them, and they start sparkling like actual metal. And they have beautiful colors for metal. They have this is the aged brass that you can see looks exactly like brass. They have the vintage gold. That would be pretty much like the German silver in the gilder's paste. This is brushed iron. I'm sorry, can't you see me? I'm in the corner. I'm in the top left corner. But you can watch these after they are over. You can come back and watch them. This is white gold. Honestly, this one is the least, it's very transparent. You need to put quite a bit of layers of this to get the proper coloring. And then the rose gold. And I did with this one, I did gold rose brooch a while ago. The bronze, that really looks like bronze, and I think there's one more, the copper. That is also gorgeous, and it looks like copper. But I noticed that on Amazon these are way more expensive than what Trish is selling them for. Let me get them out of the way. Now let's get back to our black rose. Bientôt. Okay, now what we need, we are going to need first a little, let me clean my hands better. And you clean your hands with alcohol from that. Most of the time I don't use latex gloves. I have latex gloves, I have finger cuts because I have nerve damage in my fingertips and I barely can feel anything as it is. If I put latex there, it's gonna be even worse. So what you need a little dot of clay, and I'm going to prepare. So let's put a little dot of clay on all of them on the back. That's going to serve as a base for our roses. Not a little bit too much. And then we place a pinch of, what did I do with my clay? I had it right here. I have gremlins. Okay. So we're gonna place little dots, flattened dots of clay on each of these to have support for the rose. That's a great deal, Zoe. So now I'm all done with them. If you make larger bases, okay, I could have put a little bit more here. If you make larger bases, then you can place a rose bud as well, but we'll just make plain roses on them. So I'm going to get this, and I'm going to need some bowl styluses. And my suggestion is always, when you want to do this, get some Armor Roll on a paper towel and wipe your ball styluses before doing anything. And the other thing that we need to do before doing anything else is to prepare, I forgot, to prepare our bales that we are going to put in here, to put them on a ear wire. Hi Natalia. So I'm going to get some eye pins. I practically need 2. No, I need 4 to make them properly. And remember, you don't want to put ever a straight thing in clay, because it's going to come out once it's baked. So what you want to do, so we're gonna go like this because the ear wire is like this. So I'm going to curve it a little like this, and cut. And you want to make sure that they are all the same length. Sorry, I have my pliers all magnetized. And you want this to go pretty much like this, so it would go swirling in the clay, so it wouldn't come out. And always on the same plane as the eye of the pin. That's awesome, because I know it's kind of hard to find in Germany. I looked at one point for like forever for it in Germany. In Europe, I meant. It's hard to find it in Europe. All right. And now we want to place our things. Make sure that you put them on the top. And you have the same amount sticking out. I'm going to leave them a little bit up because I presume my rose will come all the way about here. So making sure that they are all in the same direction. And the same height. If need be, you can add a little bit more black here to cover. Okay, that's the top. There we go. And now I can start working on the rose itself. So I'm going to select the largest of my cutters. And I'm going to cut quite a good number of these. Of course, you can make the roses larger if you want them larger. You can use a larger cutter. And now I have a lot of petals to work with. And I need to put on my readers. Yeah, it's a silicone spray normally used to put on your dashboard and stuff on the car. Okay, so let's start making some rose petals. And on these ones you don't have to worry about veiners, just use the palm of your hand for veining. Oh, come on. See, I already have veining on it. And you want to place it to the ones that are on the edge. You want to place them with the petal going down. So let me make a few actually. And from time to time, wipe your ball stylus again. I'll make, as I said, I'll make one pair like this, and then I'll show you another trick. But to do it the other way, you'll need a special tool. So I want to make enough to put the first row of petals. Yeah, it's also in the video description. The link. What put? No, the Armor Roll is a release agent, so stuff wouldn't stick. You don't, it evaporates. Make it so that you can remove clay from molds, or in this case, the clay won't stick to my ball stylus. Some people use cornstarch, some people use water as a releasing agent. I personally prefer Armor Roll. I don't understand. Something's going on in the chat. I don't understand because I'm probably missed. If you're talking about the wax, essentially you're supposed to put the wax after you bake and then let it cure. You can put it before you bake, but it's still a good idea to touch up after you bake. You don't have to bake the wax. The only one that needs put on before you bake it is the Inca Gold. because that's actually an acrylic, and acrylic gets bonded with the polymer clay when you bake it. Okay, let's get one of the pairs, start working on them. And as I said, the first row I'm going to put the roses with the curve going down. And then I'm going to drop it. Then the next row I'm going to start letting them curl a little bit upwards, but watch this. Anyways, they are black. I hope you can figure out what I'm doing, because it's a little bit hard to show with pure black. When you press them on, you press a little bit harder and then you bring them up some. And now I can start putting them backwards with the petals actually coming in. I might have to make a few more. Hey. And the last thing I put on, and of course here you can do a wash or you can just leave them like that. It's up to you what you choose. And I'm going to put a little bit of bacon bond on it, and then just one little pinch of clay. And then close the rows. But the antiquing, you can do it after you bake, and the rows you don't antique it until after you bake. Okay, let's do the second one. I'm going to try and go faster. Oh yes, the wax is excellent. Just make sure that you don't use the the wax that's got thinner type in it, because not all waxes work on polymer clay. Some of them may dissolve it. But your best bet are the Prima Marketing, the Gilder's paste, and Inca Gold, in that exact order of quality. Yes, that's why I said that you can do, I said in the beginning that you can do them on a little dot, but it's nicer to put one of those molds on the back, because that way they will be pretty even from behind. Okay, what spray question? I don't know, they are not all the same. You want the kind of silicone spray that's used for cars, for protecting dashboards and stuff. If it's that kind, then yeah, that's what you want. But your best bet is Armor All. I mean, Armor All, you can find it pretty much all over the place. I'll have to look in Europe for equivalents, if there are equivalent. Oh, and there's one more I didn't see, sorry. But yeah, when you're making itty bitty roses, don't bother with veiners. The palm of your hand will have enough veining for what you're doing. Hey. It's much easier to make larger roses than tiny roses. Yeah, leather type cleaners are fine as well, but cleaners, not stains. And I guess I need more of these. For this one. Just a minute. Let me cut a few more. Ow, ow, ow. Sorry. That hurt. Okay, I cannot deal with these. They got stuck together. Okay. Let me see if I'm seeing anything else in the chat that I missed. Please, if you asked a question and I didn't answer, please ask it again, because I don't always, if the chat goes fast, I don't have time to go and look up. Okay, so remember the last one, we go with the petals going inwards. And first fix them a little bit. And then grab the skull. Don't put too much bacon bond on it. Yeah, I know, it was for you, Chris, that I looked, right? Because it was so hard to find armor all in Europe. Okay, and always make sure that you place the skull straight as direction goes. And because you have a hard backing, and now we can arrange the petals to come nicely around the skull. And of course you can make the skull even smaller if you want. I know that there are some resin, small resin molds that you can use. Okay, now I'm not gonna do the second one because you already got the thing. I'm going as usual sometime in a day or two, post photo on Facebook and on the community. Let's focus on the pendant because I don't want to get too tired and not be able to show you the larger rows. Okay, so let me grab the cotton cloth. Because remember, this is baked, and I told you if you let it harden some and then you buff it, you'll see how it starts looking exactly like silver. I'll actually focus in close up. It could wait a little bit longer, but still it's a... Let me do a close-up on it so you can see it better. See how it looks like metal. Nice and shiny. Okay, so for this one, and I'm going to have to get some more black probably. Give me just a minute. Let me get some of this one. Actually, it's not going to do anything. I'm going to mix a little bit more black with translucent. Give me just a minute. because on the pendant, needing to do a rose, of course you can use your the palm of your hand, but I'll show you how to use the veiner as well. Just a second. And yes, there is a section of veiners in the influencer store. Now, I'm going to do stuff. I forgot to get the cutters. Sorry. Now, there are two kinds of rose cutters that you will see on the market, and I'll explain to you why they are different. These cutters, the ones that look like a twisted teardrop, they actually are for when you make flowers in 3D, because you use this twisted teardrop to wrap, while the regular, get this out of the way, the regular fat teardrops, they are most for this kind of stuff when you make the rose pretty much flatter, if you want. So this is this wide, so I want my petals about this size. This is what I'm going to go for. Again, when it comes to veiners, they are hard veiners and soft veiners. Yeah, I think that's how I found it, Zoe. This is for Sugarcraft. You can see that the veiner is very soft. And this is more for polymer clay, and you can see the veiner is much harder. But the problem here is that these veiner, and there are roses that have deeper veins and roses that have they are more even petals. The harder ones will leave you much harder veining, and the softer ones will leave you much softer veining. These ones usually are more expensive than these ones, but I'll show you both how they work. Okay, so let's cut a few petals. Again, I went on the 7, so 2 settings before the thinnest. Use the acrylic block. Sometimes I'm really bad about cutting. I don't press hard enough. Before I start working with these, let's put some clay on the base, the same as I did for the earrings. And then of course we'll have to put a bail there. Oh, come on. It got all skinny. And we want to make it as skinny as possible to cover quite a bit of this. And this time I'm not going to do, I'm going to just simply use wire, if I can find what I did with the wire, because I know I brought it here. And I cannot find it now. Well, gonna be another. Let me just grab another pin here. We shall name this wire, okay? So, I don't have to cut this, but essentially what you need to do is simply get it kind of like this, and then notice that this one's already has a thing here, so I don't have to bother about it, but I need to loop this one so it wouldn't come off the clay after the clay is baked. And it's fine if one is down and one is up. This is the up, so I'm going to simply put it here, and it's not perfectly. Oh, you need to make sure that it's perfectly flat, and I did not make sure that it was perfectly flat. Okay. Good night, Cecile. It must be really late where you are. Oh. Okay, let's not mess it up. So this is pretty much where it's supposed to be. And now, one thing that I can advise you before using the veiner, still use your whatchamacallit, your ball stylus on the clay before putting it in the veiner. So okay, now we are ready to start working on them. And why I'm going to do this, to make it a little bit more malleable. So I'm going first to do this a little bit, and especially you want to insist on the edges. If you can also use a cosmetic sponge for this, and it will kind of ruffle them a little bit if you do that. And before you ask, yes, I do know how to do sugar flowers. I did that before. And then we can use, now when your petal is smaller than the veiner, you don't go all the way to the bottom, you go pretty much more towards the top. Okay. And then you make sure that you place the veiner properly. Go lay down, Elaine. And you can see the veining. This veining is relatively strong. See? Now what happens when we use softer veiner? Let's see. And it is a little bit different working with sugar paste compared to polymer clay. It's not the same thing. Some things you cannot do with sugar paste, and some things you cannot do with polymer clay. Okay, so this will be the finer veiner. And you need to press it really good. And let's see how this one looks like, and you'll see the difference between one and the other. See how this one is way more delicate. So if you want to make roses that look the floribundas, the ones that have a lot of petals, you want to use this on. If you want to do more like the long stem type roses, you use this one, because depending on the type of rose, that is how the veining is on them. And actually, I think I could have gone a little bit smaller on these. Yeah, they're a little bit large. Oh well, I'm gonna put them in from the middle. Now, if you want to make your roses curved, first of all, you need to leave your your clay to cool off. I'm gonna use smaller because it is too large for that. To make it a little bit stiffer. The other thing is that you can use a stiffer clay, obviously, like a Kato or Fimo Professional, for this kind of thing, because this will not be like a natural rose. It is a Halloween thing after all. Just a minute, I'm getting these a little bit smaller because I don't want them to be too large for the pendant. Yeah, I know. I hope I'll be able to finish soon. Give me like 15 more minutes and I should be done. Alrighty, now another thing that you can do at this point is dab. I forgot to cut one. Dab the clay and then of course you still need to do your ball stylus. So now if you don't have a veiner, and I'm going to continue without a veiner, because if you're not into making flowers too often, you don't have to buy one of these. You go round and round and round you go. Where it stops, nobody knows. And you see how you already have veining. Now my hands are pretty much the doom of palm readers because I have so many lines. But how many veins you're going to get depends on your hands. But try to place them, you see, get one central line in the palm of your hand, in the middle of the petal. And then do the bottom. Be careful when you place the petal here, because you don't want to completely cover the middle of the bale. So, yeah. Again, you go with the ball stylus more on the end, on the fat end, for the first row of petals. Fat end, so it would curve this way. Turn it over and go a little bit on this end, and then you can place it. Fat fat end, fat end, fat end. Because you want the veins to be noticeable from the front at this point. Yeah, I need to hurry. I'm starting to hurt. Yeah, I know. I'm amazed I can still go, because I'm kind of hurting. And then this side. And place them. Now, second row. You don't even have to put more than 2 rows, but it all depends on the size of your skull that you're going to put in the middle. If the skull is larger, like this one, I'm only going to put 1 more row of them. But if the skull is smaller, then you can put a second row like on the earrings. So, on this one now, large one, large one, large one. And here I use a smaller ball stylus. And go a little bit towards the edge, and you'll lift them after you place the skull. Come on, stay there. No, because if I don't finish this to stop, I'm gonna start making mistakes, because you know how it is when you start hurting, you cannot focus anymore. Thank you, Zoe. Oh, this one was the old ones. Never mind. So large one, large one, large one. Make it curve. And then use the small one on the pointy end and place it. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Remember that there will be that special Halloween live Thursday. I think that I set it for 4:30 Central. And we are going to tell stories. We are going to make something wonderful. And as other years, I'm going to tell you a whole bunch of stories about Halloween and legends and myths and how you can translate that in your everyday life. Who knows, maybe I'll give you a few recipes too, of my recipes. Okay, so we got these here. Let's grab a little bit of Bacon Bond. Oh, I know what I did. I got the old bottle, the one that's almost empty. I usually like to use a newer bottle, but you won't use the wax until the petals are baked, because otherwise they are too soft to use anything on them. So again, place the skull, and of course you can make the skull like this. You don't need a mold for it. Place the skull, flatten it, and now you can start lifting the petals. I cannot see what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, come on. And you see how I do the, I'll show you here in a second how to do on a separate petal. So when you have the petal, because right now at this point we are pretty good, you just need to get the petals to be a little bit more over the skull. And I should have put 5 petals here, not just 4, but as I said, I'm starting to be in quite a bit of pain. So what you're doing here to do the petal of the rose, again, you do that. Oh, sorry. Okay, some Armor All, and I'm gonna put some Armor All on my hand too, and wipe. Okay, so you go on the wide end. You go on the wide end to start making it curve. See how it curved? Then when you press it, that was a hair. When you press it in, it's going to be caught here. You come on both sides with your fingers and you do this, because this is how the rose petals come together to make them look realistic. But remember that you need to make this one bow inside. You have to have this part bowing like this and this part bowing the other way in order to do the proper petal, rose petal. So I'm going to finish these, not right now, but what I've done, I'm going to bake, and then probably tomorrow or Tuesday, I don't know when, because tomorrow I go for bone scan and Tuesday I go for physical therapy. But I'm going to put those on the on Facebook. I'm going to post photos of the finished stuff. So now I need to go lay down. I'm sorry. Have a wonderful what's left of Sunday, and I shall see you Thursday. Have a great week. Goodbye.